Albert Einstein said that he was able to accomplish all the things he accomplished because he stood on the shoulders of giants. And you know, that's true for you and me as well. Had it not been for the dreams, for the aspiration, for the ambition of the giants of the generations who have gone before us, we would still be out in the forests, out in the fields, hunting and gathering. And now it is our obligation, it's our turn, really, to aspire to our own greatness and pass it on to the next generation. I'm Joe Ty, CEO of Values Coach, and your coach for this course on the 12 Core Action Values. And today we're going to cover the first cornerstone of Core Action Value number 7, purpose, which is aspiration. Aspiring to something bigger. Now, when you do that, when you begin to raise your dreams, raise your standards, raise your own expectations of yourself, of the world, of others, one of the things that you're going to run into is what some people call the dream stealers, the petty thinkers, the little people who want to keep you little as well. You know, it's always struck me. Think about this. When somebody in the corporate world calls you an overachiever, that is not typically meant as a compliment, is it? No, we have so many metaphors, so many words to keep people in their little box. Don't be a quota buster. Don't be an apple polisher. Don't be a brown noser. Don't be an overachiever. As if something is wrong with wanting to achieve a lot. And you have to free yourself from that negativity of other people, from that Steve Pressfield in his book, The War of Art, which I highly encourage, says that when you break out of your shell, the example he gives is you have a bucket full of crabs. If one crab tries to crawl out, the other crabs grab him, try to pull him back in. That's an all too human reaction, and you must resist that reaction. Now, when you aspire, you really aspire to more than what you have now, at 3 levels. And at the most basic level, it almost corresponds with Maslow's hierarchy. At the most basic level is aspiring to have more. You may have seen the movie The Secret, the DVD. And it was really, actually to me, it was sort of discouraging because it was all about stuff. You know, visualize diamond rings and big houses and fast cars, and those things suddenly appear in your life as if you don't have to work to achieve it. Now, I'm all in favor of stuff in limited doses. But if that is, you know, if the bumper sticker, whoever dies with the most toys wins, if that's your definition of success, you're going to have a pretty shallow life. So you raise your standard not only in what you want to have for yourself, a big house or a new car or whatever, but in what you want to do. What is the work you want to do? How can you make a difference? What is the work that brings meaning into your life? And not just the work you do for a paycheck. What about the travels you want to make? You want to see the Taj Mahal, spend a week at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, which I highly recommend. What are the hobbies you'd like to take up? You know, so many of us spend so much time at work that we forget to live. And finally, the last level for aspiration is, who do you want to be? What kind of a person do you want to be? And that really ultimately is what this course on the 12 Core Action Values is all about, isn't it? What kind of a person do you want to be? A friend of mine has a statue in his office. It's a statue of a man, and in one hand he's holding a hammer, and in the other hand he's holding a chisel, and he is carving himself out of a big piece of stone. And that is a great metaphor, isn't it, for becoming the person that you want to be. Now, I want to mention, and I'll mention again in future modules, the paradox of what's in it for me thinking. The more focused you are on yourself, on what's in it for me, what do I get out of this deal, ultimately the less you're going to have. The less you're going to do, the less you're going to be. And the more focused you can be on how can I make a contribution to other people, the more you're going to have, the more you're going to do, and the more you're going to be. Let me wrap up with 2 things. 1, I saw a sign one time that said, be realistic, expect miracles. And I think that's pretty good advice. And much more practically, Anita Roddick, the woman who founded The Body Shop, she once said, if you don't think one person can make a difference, try spending the night in a tent with a mosquito. And you think about some of the women who have made a difference. Angela Terrio, she had this horrible hospital experience. She started Plaintree, which now has more than 100 hospitals around the world focusing on how do we provide patient-centered care. Candy Leitner, her daughter was run over and killed by a drunk driver. An absolutely meaningless tragedy, but she created meaning by starting Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Wendy Kopp looked at the deplorable situation of many of our inner city schools, started Teach for America, an organization that today recruits more bright young college graduates than any Fortune 500 company does, puts these kids through an 8-week boot camp teaching them how to teach, and then sends them off to an inner city school with a 2-year contract to teach. What an incredible contribution. These are women who aspired to something more, and look how they've changed our world, making better hospitals, making safer streets, making more effective schools for the next generation. What do you aspire to? What can you do to be the mosquito in the tent? I'll see you next time.